Oezdemir. He was just charged with, what is it, battery?
Felony battery.
Felony battery.
Which is basically
Felony, that's not a good name. You know what I mean?
Well,
that's not a good word to
I
describe.
do have to say one thing. Something good did come out of this, which I don't know if you guys saw it, but there was apparently some video of his court thing today, and he referenced how he had a fight coming up in Boston, and MMA Today first want to put that out there, just throwing that out there, just a little humble brag on our part. But anyways, yeah. So Oezdemir getting in trouble for battery. Tone, I know you looked into this quite a bit. What do you got for us?
So supposedly he's at a bar after an event in Florida. Some guy, this is all, none of this is all allegedly. Just imagine I'm saying allegedly before everything. Some guy came up to his girl and grabbed her tits. And so he responded accordingly. Apparently the guy was pretty beat up. And obviously pressed charges. From what I heard when I first was hearing all these details and they kept leaking out, I was like, okay, he's going to get, a misdemeanor battery charge, which is, it's not good, but it's also not awful. Especially because his bail was only $10,000, which isn't very much at all. So I was figuring, minor, in the scope of things, minor, battery charge, he'll do like some community service, house arrest type thing, and move on with his life. And then we get word today that the court was like, nah, you got a fucking felony charge. And that's when things get a little bit more serious. Apparently, the guy he assaulted, allegedly assaulted, Kevin Cohen, said he sustained swelling and received cuts on his head. It took place. Obviously, the fight took place at a bar, and that's just kind of where we're at right now. I don't even think the UFC has put out a statement on this yet, as far as I'm aware. Right?
They put out one thing, but it was pretty much a non-statement. It was like, we're aware of the situation and we'll, update. Issue an update when we have all the information or something like that.
Yeah, so really just kind of saying that they're aware of it. But this thing will definitely play out. If he gets it dropped back down to a misdemeanor, then, I think we can continue thinking that the UFC 220 fight is going to happen as scheduled. But, if it's a felony, we got some serious problems, basically.
For sure. Like, felony means like jail time and shit, man.
Yeah. Basically, yeah.
So Alexander Gustafsson might have lucked out a little bit, huh?
Oh, that is definitely true. He's probably sitting at home like, put me in there in Boston. Let me throw down and
let me get out wrestled for 5 rounds again.
Exactly.
No, I'm just kidding. That was a great fight, though. Their first fight was great. I'm not opposed to them fighting again, but
I expected
I
them
just
to
wish
fight.
Oezdemir had time. So
I expected them to fight. I expected that to be the next title fight. Is Gustafsson versus Cormier. I don't understand why they did not make that fight happen. Why do they want to rush Oezdemir into fighting for the title?
Well, you got to strike while the iron's hot, I feel like.
Is the iron hot, though? Is Ozdemir's iron hot? I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah.
Jimmy Manuwa, was pretty much put on that 214 card as being the guy to replace, either Jones or Cormier if they went down. And Oezdemir's, starched him pretty quickly. So I think he almost just kind of swept in and stole Manuwa's spot there. So, it's a fresh matchup. When was the last time we had a fresh matchup in a light heavyweight title fight? Probably was Gustafsson, DC. So that was over, when was that? Over a year and a half ago. So I don't know. I would have been fine with it. I think that was the right move, but I'm also okay with Gus. Gus looked as good as ever in that Glover fight.
Yeah, but how did he look versus DC the first time? I mean, do we really need to see this again right away? I don't know.
Right, which poses the question, like, does DC move up if Oezdemir can't fight? Like, what else does he have to prove at 205? Who else would he even fight at this point?
True.
You know,
Does he move up and fight Stipe at
I mean,
220?
I think he'll move up sometime, like, eventually. I think he'll take one more fight at 205, whether it be against Gus or Oezdemir. But I just think, like, what else does he have to prove here? Jones isn't going to be here till he's like 40 years old or something. So don't have to really worry about that anymore. And hey, why not? Why not give it another crack? He's undefeated at that weight class.
Yo,
Well, I
DC
mean, yeah. It's not like it's a crazy idea. He beat some pretty big names at heavyweight. I mean, it's not like he would be undersized or anything for the division or outmatched. We already know that. So I don't know. I think he would have a problem with just leaving his belt for somebody to just take. Though.
But why does he have to leave his belt? Like, he could just keep it and just go up and fight for the title. Why not? They let Connor do it. They've let a few fighters do it in the past. So let's see what happens. I'm not a big proponent of Oezdemir. This assault shit doesn't really bother me at all. I mean, assault case is not good, but it doesn't really affect his status as a fighter to me.
How could you not like No Time? Jesus.
That's just whack.
How is that whack? Did
That's
you
a
not
whack
see his
ass
last
name.
few
It's like,
fights?
I have no
Did you not see
time.
his last few fights?
I have no time. Right? It's like, come on, man. Like, learn some shit from somebody, like some shit talkers in your camp or something. Come on.
Go read his AMA on Reddit. No, actually don't, cause fuck Reddit. But watch some of his interviews. He's got some personality. He like Nolan said, he fucking starched Manua. They were rushing Manua up to that title shot. They need fresh blood at 205. Like, they're fucking dying at the division. It is by far the worst division in the UFC. They have to do something. Well, I shouldn't say. Are we considering 145 a division? Because I mean, they have Holly Holm, who has one win in her last, 4 fights now.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I'm trying to think. Do they even have rankings for the women's featherweights?
No. When you go to the UFC rankings website for featherweight, it just says no rankings available for this selection. It doesn't even list the champion. It doesn't even list Cyborg. They just completely wrote off the whole thing, and they have Holly Holm as the number 2 bantamweight contender.
How are you the number 2 bantamweight contender when you've lost, like you said, 3 of your last 4 fights in the division? What the fuck is wrong with these motherfuckers?
I don't know.
Yeah,
they must know at this point that they kind of fucked up with this whole thing. Oftentimes, I think, like, they don't really acknowledge their mistakes in terms of, like, they would never reverse decisions that they made or anything. But I honestly wouldn't be shocked if they ended up, just eating this division at some point, because who are they even going to sign?
That's what I thought too. That's what I'm saying. That's what I thought too, until they signed Cyborg out of left field. And, good for them. That was a big, free agency move, because, I mean, let's face it, if the UFC doesn't sign her, Bellator gets her. Bellator has another former UFC star on the roster. So big free agent signing for them. But what the fuck are they? I mean, what did they got all these, they're rushing all these tough girls into the 125 division, right? What the hell are they doing for featherweight? You can't just keep pulling these girls from 135 for these freak matches, I don't know what kind of contract she signed. It's, I would imagine it's for more than one fight, So I don't know who they're going to have Cyborg fight in her next, 2 to 3 fights. It's very odd. The whole situation is very odd. And the new Ultimate Fighter is not going to be finding new 145 talent for the women's division. It's, featuring some a bunch of undefeated guys. No one probably knows a lot more about that than I do. But Yeah, maybe they have some 145 girls on the Contender Series. They didn't have any on the last show that I'm aware of. So
I just think the pot, even outside the UFC, is almost non-existent for 145. Like, a lot of we kind of forget sometimes. I think that like WMMA, it's come a long way, but it's still not as evolved, as the men's MMA. It hasn't been around as long. It wasn't that popular up until recently, to be honest. Like Dana White said he was never going to bring to the UFC, that whole thing. So it's come a long way in a short time, but a lot of these fighters are still underdeveloped. And, as you move up the weight classes, obviously, even in even to scale in the men's divisions, the heavier weight classes are harder to find fighters. Same deal with this. Like, I just think the sport isn't necessarily there yet in general, even outside the UFC.
I already know what they're gonna do with Cyborg. Insider information.
Oh, here we go.
Coming out of Thailand. All right, Bangkok.
Bangkok.
They're gonna. The reason why they signed Cyborg to that multi-fight deal is because they're planning on putting on the first male versus female fight in the UFC in 2018.
I knew you were leading us down a road, and I had a feeling this is where you were going.
Honestly,
he's the only one that could do it.
I think Cyborg could beat a shit ton of 135ers and 125ers from the men's division, and probably some, if they brought in some low level like 145 guys from like the Contender Series or like LFA or something, I think she might go to town on them.
Listen to this matchup.
Isn't somewhere doing that? I thought I saw Kaposa put up something about how there's somewhere that's doing women.
Oh, Gender Wars?
Yeah, Gender Wars.
Oh my God.
That's a terrible name. Listen to this matchup.
What other sports do you get
Cyborg.
to boomerangs, boob grabs, and Gender Wars all in the same, 40-minute period? This is why we watch, really, in reality.
Cyborg
Last week we talked about armpit hair.
Versus this is at featherweight. Cyborg versus BJ Penn.
Oh my God. I don't think
That's the both worlds.
I don't think BJ Penn could beat Holly Holm today. That's where BJ Penn's at in his career.
Why does every like Hall of Famer and hero in MMA just have to hit the point where they'll lose to Holly Holm?
I don't know. It's like, that's why I always think it's so nice when guys go out on top. Well, I mean, GSP just came back, so I guess maybe. Well, I don't know, but at least in other sports, I love seeing guys go out on top.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Fucking World Series or something, and he retires. Guy wins the NBA Finals and he retires. Like, that's what you want to see. You want to see guys retiring at the right age, going out with the win, hopefully. I mean, you could say a Uriah Faber's one of them.
That was a good one.
Brad Pickett, did not leave on a win, but I think he left with good timing, at least,
on his own terms,
like a final decision.
Yeah.
So I always enjoy that.
Absolutely. I think Michael Bisping, is kind of doing that now. I know he still said he's going to fight twice more, but I think, he kind of realized, I was a champ, just lost my belt. It's time to wind down. Like, he's not going to keep making those presses towards the title and just, until he can't literally even fight guys on the, mid-tier prelims anymore. So I think I would throw him in that. If he sticks to what he says, which in the sport we know doesn't always happen, then I think that'll be a good way to go out in London.
Speaking of Michael Bisping,
beautiful segue, Nolan.
Yes.
Right into
UFC
the
Fight Night 122 at the Mercedes-Benz Arena. They had to do it at the Mercedes-Benz Arena. They couldn't do it at like the T-Mobile or whatever in Shanghai.
Why is there a Mercedes-Benz Arena in Shanghai when you have like all the other major car companies there?
I have no idea. I think Mercedes-Benz owns half of Shanghai.
Really?
Maybe.
That doesn't make you got all your Japanese cars, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they fucking Shanghai's in Japan, right?
No, it's in China.
Wait, am I tripping? Oh my God.
Hashtag learn some geography.
There's my American my American education.
His
But they're
American
right next to
imperialism.
Japan. They're right next to where they produce all the Japanese cars, and the place is named Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's a very nice arena, or one of the best in the
You
city.
never been there?
I've never been to Shanghai. I've been to other cities in China, but not Shanghai.
No. You should have gone to this one. It's like right next to you, right?
Yeah, it takes like I gotta get a visa and all kinds of shit. Nowadays they're not giving out visas because the whole Korea and China dispute thing going down, and
Oh.
it's a shitty situation. But let's talk about the main event. Michael Bisping coming in on like the late notice, for real late notice, just after you fought late notice and lost the title late notice against Kelvin Gastelum. I'm just gonna put it out there. Gastelum knocks him out within 3 rounds.
Fuck
That's
no,
my
he doesn't.
prediction.
Hell no. Kelvin Gastelum's undersized.
That's what they said about GSP.
What? I think that's not a fair comparison. Kelvin Gastelum is. I don't like the fact that he's even still in this division. I really want him to move down. I think, physically and stylistically, he does not match up well with Bisping. Even with the 6 days or whatever late notice Bisping's coming on, I forget the amount of days. It definitely gives me more pause. But if this was, a fight that had been set up and both of them had equal time to prepare, I would be taking Bisping all fucking day. I already bet Bisping because he's at 2-1. He's at like plus 250. And I put a sizable chunk of money on that because I thought that was ridiculous. And yeah, the only thing that gives me pause is the fact that he's coming off of that the loss to GSP, and he hasn't really had time to recover, and it's in fucking China. So all these factors kind of just give me, they're outside the cage factors, but if they weren't for them, then I would be taking Bisping all day.
I think like we talked about this a little bit last week, and I believe that I said that I thought I was going to take Bisping, and I honestly, like, the more I've thought about it, I've started to kind of lean towards Gastelum. I don't know, man. I honestly don't know. This is such a tough one. Kelvin, kind of proved a lot of what people thought about him being at 185 to be true in his last fight against Chris Weidman. He looked like so much smaller than even I would have thought he would have against Weidman, and that just gives me such hesitation. But I'm just going to lean with Gastelum. Something deep down inside just tells me I think that he's going to win for some reason. Don't know exactly what it is, but that's just kind of a thought that I have.
Bisping's going to have that fall from grace that every champion, that you don't want to see, but I'm thinking it's going to happen to Bisping, and it's going to start with Gastelum. And he's going to lose this one, and he's going to fight again in England, and he's going to lose to whoever he fights in England, and if he continues fighting, he's just going to lose and lose and lose.
Wait, you don't even know who he's going to fight in England, though. You can't.
It doesn't matter. It's going to be Joel Romero. Joel Romero is going to Donkey Kong the shit out of him, where, his other eye is fucked. Right? Did you see the poster that they like retouched his eyes up to make them look normal?
That was a little weird. Yeah. I'm not sure if that was at his request or UFC just went ahead and did that. But
hey, imagine that conversation. He's like, "Hey, you guys better make my eyes look normal in the poster." Like, come on, you guys better make my eyes look normal. Don't make my eyes look like my eyes. Make it look normal. Because it looks like he's like a snake and shit, like a human snake, the poster. It's weird. But, yeah, I believe Bisping, he's going to fall from grace. That's what's going to happen to him. And Gastelum's just the first domino, I guess, in that domino effect.
He's not that guy. He's just not that guy. But I told you, and I'm sticking by this. I hope it comes true. I said this card would be better than that shit one that we just watched from Australia. I mean, looking at the card once again, even though we talked about this last week, I like it so much more than last week, and I'm kind of pissed that it's on at 3 a.m. my time because there's no fucking way I'm getting up to watch. Yeah, it starts at 3:30 in the morning. No, it starts even earlier than that. My bad. It starts at 12:30 in the morning, and it runs until I think the main card starts at like 5 a.m. or something insane.
Saturday morning.
Saturday morning. It starts at 4 a.m. My time. So I'm totally fucked on the West Coast. There's no way I'm getting up to watch this.
See, being on the East Coast, I think I have it just as bad. Like the prelims start at 3:45 a.m. for me. You know, and the main card's at 7, which I guess is kind of doable. But
that's totally fine. Like you wake up at 7 and you watch the fights.
Yeah, no, that's true. The main card, I'm safe. Some of those, you know, I don't know. I'm probably gonna end up staying up for the whole thing or waking up early for the whole thing.
See, I would talk shit to you guys about like how like I'm on the other side of the world and it's so convenient, and it's just gonna be a nice little Saturday night. Like it never happens that way because I'm always watching the fights on Sunday morning. Right. But I'm not really excited for this card, man. Like it's not something that excites me. It's not the best guys in Asia that are not signed to the UFC getting signed to the UFC. How could you be excited about
the Australia card but then not be excited about this one?
Because I think the Australia card, to me, had more fighters that represented Australia and the scene in New Zealand and in that area better, and the better fighters were signed that came from that area were on the card, right? But that's
really not even how it used to be. Like the UFC would go to places and they would just have their normal fight. Like they wouldn't even like pull prospects from the region. Like they would just, you know, go with it would just basically, I mean, to break it down, they would have a bunch of white guys fighting in like, you know, fucking middle of Japan or something.
But that wouldn't even be that bad, to be honest with you. Because then at least you would get, you know, a certain level of fighters to come over here and stack the card up.
So you're saying if they're gonna get, your problem is if they're gonna get these regional guys, at least get the good regional guys.
Yeah, where's the fucking Korean Superboy regional guy? Doesn't have a fight. He's fucking training. Why isn't he on this card? Where's, you know, some of the Japanese cats, you know, that should be fighting on this card, which are the better fighters, right? I don't understand, like, what's the point? Like, there's so many guys over here that I can name off to you guys, but a lot of people wouldn't even know who they are around the world. But they're fucking legit. Like, they would go into the UFC and crack the top 20 real quick. But they didn't sign none of those guys.
I mean, they got the Leech. They got the Leech in the co-main event. I like that fight.
Yeah, the Leech is good. Like but he's been signed, right? So it's all good with the Leech. I'm talking about like the new people.
How do you feel about the Caceres and the Wang fight?
See, the Wang fight, like his record looks nice.
Yeah, he's 19-1-1. I mean, he must be a world beater.
His record looks nice, but in China, you don't even know. You know what I mean? Like, there's guys that have like 50 fights, but their record says they're like 10-1. So it's kind of odd, but yeah, that guy's pretty good though.
Hey, this guy's got a win over Mr. Shane Young, who just fought awfully.
Volkanovski.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good. Like this should probably be the best fight of the night, like talent-wise. Caceres versus Wang. It should.
That's up there. I think those like honestly I think the main card, every fight's pretty solid, and I think that obviously the Zabit Magomed Sharipov versus Shaman Moraes, like that whole streak right there, I'm very excited for those 4 fights. If I'm being honest, like much more excited than I was about anything last week on the card.
Right? That's what I'm fucking saying, Nolan. Like this, John is tripping. Like he's.
You guys are always against me.
He's not seeing in between lines
this
here.
Show or whatever we're doing right now is just become
This is underrated MMA. You got Chase Sherman. Chase Sherman's on the card. I mean, come on, like.
I was going to ask you, John, do you know the new guy they signed today, the heavyweight Yao Zong Hu or something?
I have never heard of that guy.
Okay, because I watched tape on him today, and like talent-wise, not the best fighter. I'm just throwing that out there, just a little disclaimer. The dude, honestly, though, he fights like a hockey fight. Like, it is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. He just guns punches right down the pipe. So that should end in the first round. Like, no matter what happens, I just know there's going to be a finish. So I'm excited about that. And I like hockey, so it kind of makes it like I like.
Oh, God. We got a Bruins fan. This is all bad.
I'm interested in like this.
Brad Marchand is basically
guy.
Colby Covington.
I'm interested in this Indian guy who is like the representative of India coming into the UFC.
The real Indian guy?
Yeah, like the real Indian, whatever the fuck that is. You know, whatever the fuck that people think that is, right? So this guy, Bharat Khandari, I'm wondering, like, how good is he? Because he's kind of like the meter of, like, okay, how good are these Indian guys? He's the meter. We're going to see him fight Yadong Song, which is another Chinese guy.
I feel like he can't be that good because, I mean, those guys practice Buddhism, which teaches, you know, peace and love. And, like, you can't be a great MMA fighter if you're all about peace and love. You have to have some, like, a hard streak to you, right?
Hey, Alex Caceres, right?
Oh, is he a Buddhist? I don't even know.
I don't know. He's always doing the peace and love stuff, but
he's got videos of him in street fights though. Come on.
Yeah, but I think he's just on edibles. That's why he's so happy all the time. So
where did you get that?
I'm just saying.
Field.
This is the real MMA breakdowns that people want to watch right here.
Exactly.
This is why people tune in.
Exactly.
And can we talk about the fact that there's a guy named Yadong Song?
Yeah, like he rhymes and he has the best word dong in his name. So
Yadong Song.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to say, like, the not in any way to be like racist or anything, but the names on this card, there's so many that are so similar. Like you have Keenan Song, Yadong Song, the guy that I just named, or
Yazong Wu.
Then you have Yanan Wu. And
he's part of the Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah.
That's a real thing in China.
They each have, like, a name that's extremely similar to the other one. Like, they're each in pairs.
Yeah, Bruce Buffer saying Yadong Song, that's just going to be hilarious. If Bruce Buffer is going to be there. He's going to go all out. You know that. He's going to throw that dong really long on that motherfucker, right? There's going to be Yadong.
I would hope that they don't make Bruce Buffer come all the way out to Shanghai for this card. That's pretty brutal.
Who's the other guy? The Mexican dude.
Joe Martinez.
Yeah, Joe Martinez is not that bad too. So
yeah, he does a lot of other promotions as well.
Yeah, so even him doing Yadong Song.
What was that, Nolan?
Is Andy Freelander the British guy they had for a while? I haven't seen him
forever.
Yeah, he got axed.
So I think he's gone. I thought he was announcing Cage Warriors or something recently.
Yeah.
There's some really bad, like the guys that have like no like pep in their voice, you know?
Yeah.
And they're just like,
I bet it's a tougher thing for people to do than you'd think. You got to have the certain sound.
Yeah, fuck, I couldn't do that shit. Are you kidding me?
No, I'd sound like such a goofball.
Takes like a lot of energy.
Song. It just wouldn't happen.
What about the Pride lady?
Oh fuck yeah, I love the Pride lady.
Dude, she's a G, man. Like, when you see her, like I've seen her in so many events, but when the music's popping off, dude, she's like dancing and shit, like in her chair. Like she's like this, like she's going off, dude. Like, and then she gets on the mic, she's like, la 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 la. She gets crazy, dude. Like the name, you don't even know what name she's saying, to be honest with you. Like, it could be like this Yadong Song, and she'd be like, Yadong, da, 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 da. Like, she'll start doing that shit. Like,
you know what? I got super confused because Fedor, you know, Fedor's like assistant. Have you guys have never seen Fedor's assistant?
No.
Is he like is he an American guy?
No. It's a little Asian lady, and I totally thought it was.
I know what you're talking about. It looks like Roseanne Barr.
Yeah, I thought it was the Pride lady. So I thought the Pride lady was just following Fedor around, like, you know, being his assistant. And I I was so confused. I was like, what is going on here? Like, why is the Pride lady taking notes down for Mr. Fedor?
She kind of looks like that. Remember on Mad TV, the Swan?
The Swan. Yeah. Nolan's probably too young to remember that.
I
So.
remember, like, I mean, I've seen Mad TV on reruns, but I'd be lying to you if I. Oh, I do. Is that like the thing with he looks like a man or whatever?
No, that's Saturday Night Live.
Like
That's like old
Those-
shit right there. But the Swan is like the lady was playing like an Asian lady.
Yeah. No, I know. It was a white lady that was playing it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, she kind of looks like her too. She's like a mix of her and Roseanne Barr together,
Yeah.
but then looks like the Pride lady. But yeah, like this card, I'm talking a lot of shit, and I've been talking a lot of shit about it, and most likely because I'm talking shit, is probably gonna turn out pretty good.
A card that nobody will probably see.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm gonna be watching it, right? And I'm gonna be fucking ready, gun loaded if it sucks, and just blast all over you guys about how terrible it was.
I mean, what about this Chase Sherman fight? I mean, do you think they're giving him another winnable matchup, or is he actually gonna, is he gonna be tested?
I honestly think this is probably it's a really tough matchup for him, if I'm being honest. I think Shamil probably will open as the favorite. People forget his last fight was against Derek Lewis in December, and he beat Lewis for the first 3 rounds pretty easily. And then he actually, I believe what I read was that he suffered, he broke both of his arms, is what I read.
Fuck.
Or something like that.
Both
I
of his
remember if it was
arms?
his legs. It must have been his arms. But yeah, he got pretty banged up from that, and he still, took Lewis to the 4th round and was sweeping him at the time.
He broke both his arms during the fight?
I believe so. I think he something about I know he broke one of his arms, and then the other one I think he either did something to his elbow or he also suffered some type of broken bone in it.
Damn, that's a Russian for you right there, man. Like when you fighting those Russians, you don't know what to expect. And I think Chase Sherman, he has some hard work ahead of him in Shanghai. They should have put this on the main card, don't you think?
They easily could have,
Yeah, because Chase Sherman has a pretty good following, outside of Asia, but still, I think he's a good enough fighter, and Shamil is a good enough fighter, and it's a heavyweight bout, so you should at least put one on there.
Could we go outside the UFC real quick to what was it? Fight Night Global. It was Fight Night Global, right? Where Pavlovich and Baby Fedor fought.
Yep, I believe you're right.
Pavlovich has secured his spot as. I mean, I thought he was coming in the fight, but other people had some serious doubts about him and thought he was overrated or whatever. But I think now he's definitely solidified himself as the top heavyweight prospect out there, as well as being the Fight Night Global champion. And so that's definitely something to keep an eye on. He totally fucking destroyed Baby Fedor. So if you haven't seen the knockout, go check that out. It's on Grabica's Twitter and all other kinds of places.
I'm right with you there, Tony. I'm hoping he doesn't get sucked into the international superstar where they throw ridiculous amount of money at him and we never see him in the UFC. I know I'm kind of selfish in that regard, but
Kalinov.
I'm hoping he turns down that $1 million to come fight here for $12,000 instead. But
right.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Well, I'll throw out a name that the UFC should have signed for the heavyweight division.
I know who you're going to say.
His name is Amir Alakbari.
Yep. Bingo.
He trains out of AKA Thailand. They should have signed him, man. That dude is fucking good. He will come in and put some fucking major hands on fools in the heavyweight division. And even though he lost to Krokov in the what is it?
Who's coming back?
Huh?
Who's coming back?
Yes, he's coming back. And that guy, they should have signed him, man, at least for one fight for Shanghai and put him in there with maybe a Chase Sherman or somebody.
Yeah, I wonder what his contract's like, because I think from what I've been reading, he's always been really open to coming to the UFC, so that would be pretty sweet.
All
I'm
those
down.
guys that are in Ryzen, most of them that are not Japanese, their contracts are most likely open, or
Mhm.
they've always done one fight contracts. Like
Yeah.
even
Yeah, they
Rocky
love their one
Martinez,
fight contracts.
who just won in Ryzen too, and he's the Deep champion. I interviewed him. Shameless plug. You could go see it on MMA Today, our website. But a cool dude, right? A lot of people are calling him out. You know, like there's Jake Humes calling him out, and Amir Al-Akbari, he's talking shit about him like he's nothing. And a lot of these Ryzen dudes, they're like targeting each other. But when that dude, what's his name, that got popped by USADA, and they pulled him off that card, Melhorn or something like that.
Yeah,
They should have
Mulholland.
picked up either one of those guys. You know, at least Amir Al-Akbari or Rocky Martinez. I have no idea why they would pick Yao Zhong Hu. Maybe
Yeah, I
because
don't know. Maybe the visa thing. That's the only thing I can think of. But
yeah, that's true. Visas
yeah,
are
I
hard to
agree.
get, man. Visas are hard to get nowadays into China. You
Oh,
know,
I bet.
people are getting denied visas. Like they're paying like $500 to apply, and they get denied. $500? Fuck you, China.
That's crazy.
You know. But
Yeah.
ending it on this note, thank you, Dr. King, Big Boss Tone. It was good talking to you guys. We'll see the listeners or watchers or FBI or whoever's watching us right now.
Nolan, why is Kyrie Irving wearing a mask? Why is he trying to be like?
What's that?
Why is Kyrie Irving trying to look like Kobe with a mask?
Oh man, he has to wear that for a couple weeks now. He actually broke a bone in his face.
Likely story.
Yeah.
Imitation.
That was more T-shirts. That's why.
All right, go Seahawks. Fuck New England.
Lost me a
Fuck
bunch
the
of
Giants.
Appreciate that.
Anyways, it's all good. We suck. Not really, but I don't know. It could have. Our
you guys
shit
have
is
any-
fucked up right now.
Any gambling tips or anything for the Shanghai card?
Gambling tips?
No.
You don't want to listen to me, and that's
I don't even know the odds.
All right. Just thought I'd throw that out there.